In this video, we're going to talk about functions or not a function. We're going to talk about determine whether a function, whether a table, a set of data in a table, a mapping diagram, a relation, or graph, if it's a function or not a function. One couple of things you got to look for. One thing is if it's function, x does not repeat. So otherwise, we should not see the same number in the column of the x value. Another thing we could do is the vertical diagram. Vertical line, the vertical line test. If we do the vertical line test means you draw a line straight down. If it touches it more than once, then it's not a function. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started. We're going to do a couple, and then I have several examples here so we can practice. Alright, so the first thing is that we're going to look for when x repeats. So I'm looking in this column right here. Do I have any of my values here that repeat? And the answer is no. So this is a function. So yes, a function. Now I'm going to look in this column again, x. Check to see if x repeats again. So we have a 0, a 1, a 2, a 1. Uh-oh, we do have numbers that repeat, 1. So because the ones repeat in the x column, then this is not a function. And let me explain what this means. What this means is if you put a value in for x, so I'm going to create an equation, let's say this. If I put a 1 in there, 1 plus 4 is 5. But if I put a 1 in there, plus 4, does it equal 7? And that's what this is saying in this one. It's saying when you put the 1 in for a value of x, for x, you could get two possible answers. In this situation, that is not possible. Alright, so let's look at the third example. Does x repeat? And you got a 0, a 2, a 3, a 4, and a 6. Now some of you are going to be looking at this and goes, yes, this is not a function because the 3's repeat. But that's only in the y columns. If it's in the y columns, we're okay. So this is a function. Alright, so let's try it. Alright, so I'll give you three examples here. We're going to try it. So example 1, what do you think it is? Is it a function or not a function? Alright, so if you look, you don't see any in the x column. You don't see any of the numbers repeat, so this is a function. And example 2, do you think this is a function or not a function? So if you look at example 2, look in the x column, you have a -2, a 1, a 0, 1, and a 2. So none of them repeat. Now again, the y's can repeat, so this still is a function. Alright, example 3, is this a function or not a function? Alright, so now look at the x column. You can see that the zeros repeat, so this is not a function. Alright, so that's how you do the ones in a little table. Now let's go look at a graph. Alright, so we're going to use something called the vertical line test. A vertical line test means that you draw a line straight down. If it touches the shape more than once, it is not a function. So here we go. I'm going to draw a line, and I draw it straight down vertically. Does this touch the more than once? And the answer is yes. So this means it's not a function. Alright, if I drew my line here, would it touch it more than once? No. Here, no. Here, no. Here, 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 here. So no matter how many times I draw it, it only touches it one time, so this is a function. So let's you try it. Is example 1 a function? Well, if I drew my vertical line, you notice right there it only touches it one time. Here, one time. One here. One here. And now look, but when I get here, I can touch it. It does it. It touches it more than one time. So this one's not a function. Alright, so let's try this one. If I drew my line straight down, would this touch it more than once? And you can see it does not. So this is a function. So whenever you have a graph, you just do the vertical line test. If it touches it, if you draw a vertical line, that means a line that's going straight up or down, and it touches the graph, the line in the graph, more than once, it is not a function. Alright, so here's relations. Relations is a set of ordered pairs. Very similar to the table that we did at the very beginning. We're going to look for if it's a function or not. Again, we're looking for the x value that repeats. And if you remember, in an ordered pair, the first one is the x, the second one is y. So we're looking at each one of the first ones. You got -2, -3, and a 4, and a -1. And none of these repeat, so this one is a function. I'm just going to put an F for function. Alright, in my second example, I'm going to look, do my first numbers repeat? So that's -3, -4, -6, +6 and 5. So none of them repeat, so this is a function. Alright, in my third example, I'm looking for if this is a function or not. There's a -3, there's a 0, there's a -3. So the -3's repeat. They're both in the x spot. They're the first one in each one. So this is not a function. Alright, let's see if you try this one. Alright, so example 1, is this a function or not a function? Well, if you look at each of the first numbers in each of the parentheses, you're looking to see if any of them repeat. There's a -2 and there's a -2, so this is not a function. Alright, what about example 2? Again, look at the first one. Do any of these repeat? And I don't see anything, so I assume this is a function. Example 3. Is it a function or not a function? Well, if you look at the beginning again, see if any of these numbers repeat, and you can see -5 and -5, so that is not a function. Alright, these are mapping diagrams. Mapping diagrams, the x is always on one side and the y is on the second side. So this is always the x side, this is the y side. And I was always asking myself, does this x only go to one y? In this demo, everything's in blue, so I'm going to use red to demonstrate what I'm talking about. So here's my x value, 3. Does 3 only go to one y? Yes. Does -4 only go to one y? Yes. Even though they share y, it's okay. 0 only goes, or x, does this x only go to one y? Yes, that 0 only goes to one y. So this one is a function. Alright, so let's look at the next example with the 4. Alright, so does 4 only go to one y? Yes, it goes to 1. Does 7 only go to one y? Yes, it goes to only 2. Does 0 only go to one y? Yes, it only goes to 3. So this one is also a function. Alright, let's look at the next one. Does 2 only go to one y? Yes, it only goes to 4. Does 1 only go to one y? Yes, it only goes to one y. It goes to 4. Does 0 only go to one y? Yes, even though they all three have the same y value, none of the x's go to two different numbers. So this one is a function. Alright, look at the last one. Does 3, this is x and this is y, does 5 go to only one y? Yes, it does. Oh, does it? Look here, y goes to also 2. So y goes to 3 and y goes to 2. So what they're saying is if you put a y value in for an equation, you're going to get two different answers. And that's not possible. So we already know this is not a function. Alright, let's let you try. So example 1. Is example 1 a function? Well, here we go. Does x go to 1y? Yes. Does x go to 1y? Yes. Does this x go to 1y? Yes, so this is a function. Does -2 only go to 1y? Yes. Does 4 only go to 1y? No, it does not. It goes to 1 and 3, so this is not a function. Example 3. Does x only go to 1y? No, x goes to several y's on this one. And so that means it's not a function.